A terrifying and explosive mud volcano eruption is not something most communities ever expect to witness. Mud volcanoes are often dismissed as slow, bubbling curiosities, geological oddities that ooze rather than explode. But under certain conditions, they can transform into violent, unpredictable events, driven not by molten rock, but by pressurized gas trapped deep beneath the surface. Imagine waking up and sensing something is off, even before your eyes open. It's still dark outside, but the street noises aren't right. Instead of the hum of early traffic and distant voices, there's a strange percussion, low, menacing cracks that rattle windows and set nerves jangling. As you rush to the window, you see your neighbors out too, their faces pale in the surreal, flickering light that turns the familiar into something out of a nightmare. Cars are abandoned in the middle of the road, streetlights flicker and die. Cell phones come alive in trembling hands, not with casual morning greetings, but panicked calls and texts. Then comes the sound everyone fears but can't name, a roar, deep and guttural, as though the earth itself is taking a ragged breath after ages of silence. Across the skyline, a monstrous column of black ash pours upward, thick and relentless, warping the dawn into a grotesque twilight. Above ground, orange flames coil and twist, flickering up from a wound in the earth. The flames are eerily beautiful, but bring only dread. The eruption is not a slow leak, it's a brutal expulsion, a geyser of thick mud and burning gas. Chunks of superheated debris rain down, hissing as they hit cold ground and roofs. Embers swirl in the wind, and the mud is alive with its own angry energy, stabbing upward in erratic jets. Within mere minutes, the streets closest to the blast are buried ankle-deep in steaming, metallic-smelling muck. The few who pause to look up watch the sun vanish behind the towering curtain of smoke and ash. On social media, videos go viral within seconds, people sprinting through intersections, faces streaked with ash, children screaming as they're carried away, the relentless sound of sirens blending into the chaos. Helicopters circle overhead, shining weak spotlights through the writhing cloud. News anchors, not yet on camera but already reporting, speak breathlessly of a catastrophe with no precedent in living memory. And all the while, the question grows louder and sharper. How can the very earth we build upon, trust every day with our homes and lives, turn on us so suddenly? What primal power tears open the silent ground, sending forth not lava, but boiling mud, poisonous gas, and fire? Where did this come from, and what, if anything, will follow in its wake? To make sense of the terror, we must slow down and peer into the abyss, tracing the disaster's origin to where routine and nightmare first clashed. Just past midnight, the municipal water treatment plant was a haven of mundane activity. Engineers monitoring pumps, janitors finishing their rounds, and the gentle hum of machines keeping darkness at bay. Underneath, however, pressures were mounting, a slow build as old as the continent itself. Unbeknownst to those above, layers of ancient compressed clay, sand, and mineral-rich silt were being forced together by shifting plates deep below the plant. Gases, mostly methane but laced with hydrogen sulfide, had been seeping upward for months, collecting in invisible vaults. At first, the only signs were subtle: an inexplicable warmth in the basement floors, a faint, rotten egg smell dismissed as everyday sewage. Then, in the dead of night, the pressure reached a tipping point. It started with a sound like groaning metal, then the unmistakable vibration of the earth as it split. Witnesses smelled a sharp tang of minerals and sulfur, powerful enough to choke the lungs. The ground erupted, not gently, but violently. Mud and gas blasting skyward in a furious column laced with orange and blue flame. The mud was too hot to touch, peppering everything nearby with stinging blisters on contact. It covered foliage, corroded paint, and set small fires wherever it landed. Security cameras caught the initial moments in harsh monochrome. Silhouettes frozen in alarm, water pipes splitting open, electrical sparks igniting gouts of gas. For blocks around, ash cascaded like a thunderstorm. Even months later, survivors would recall the noise above all else, a deafening, roaring howl, like hundreds of freight trains crashing in one place. Families living closest to the plant were roused by the bellowing of pets or the shaking of walls. A mother dragged her 2 small children from their beds, shoes forgotten in the rush. A shopkeeper, barely dressed, threw open his steel security gate, calling for neighbors to wake. The old bonds of routine and community were shattered in seconds, replaced by pure, primal urgency. First responders arrived in less than 10 minutes, but conditions were so alien they might as well have landed on Mars. Paramedics donned emergency respirators, stepping through steam and mud made treacherously slick by oily residues. Firefighters checked burning windows, while police officers used bullhorns to push people back from the expanding zone of destruction. Volunteers emerged, still in pajamas and slippers, to knock on doors and guide the disoriented towards safety. No one knew whether the eruption would worsen, if the ground would open again, or if an unseen enemy, carbon monoxide, methane, or poison gas, lurked in the swirling air. But the question lingered. Mud volcano? Isn't that just a big puddle? Few understood in those moments that mud, in the right circumstances, can become the deadliest weapon the Earth possesses. The word volcano conjures images of searing, bright lava and mountainous craters. Mud volcanoes belong to a stranger, subtler family. What sets them apart isn't scale alone, nor is it the absence of molten rock. It's that, beneath the surface, the forces are just as savage, just as indifferent to human plans. Mud volcanoes form where thick layers of sediment accumulate, usually near ancient seabeds, river deltas, or tectonic fault lines. Over centuries, pressure from above and heat from the Earth's interior cook these deposits, releasing water and a toxic cocktail of gases. Most of the time, this release is slow and harmless, vented quietly through seeps. Sometimes, a fragile cap of clay and silt bears down and keeps everything pent up. Nobody can say with certainty what exactly triggers a full-on eruption. It could be a slight tremor, a ripple in the deep rock, or perhaps water from heavy rain adding just enough weight atop the pressurized layers. Sometimes, drilling or construction work above might play a role. Regardless, once the balance tips, the pressure finds the weakest point and attacks. The mud that explodes forth isn't the playful muck of riverside childhoods. It is a hot slurry, loaded with dissolved minerals, toxic gases, and sometimes oil. Temperatures can soar dangerously high. The gases, methane, carbon dioxide, and hydrogen sulfide, make the mud bubble and spit. If the escaping gases catch fire, jets of flame can leap through the mud in dazzling, deadly arcs. For emergency workers, this is the stuff of nightmares. Standard firefighting equipment isn't designed for boiling mud, nor are rescue vehicles built for roads that may collapse without warning. The mud sticks to everything, flowing at surprising speed in narrow alleys, surging over barriers. The eruption's initial blast can reach impressive heights, raining down hot debris that spreads the hazard in every direction. There's no warning siren, no instant to think. Mud volcanoes don't follow regular patterns. Some may rumble for days before bursting, others explode without warning. In the hours before the current eruption, local seismographs showed a series of tremors, but nothing outside the ordinary. Only a handful of scientists noticed the subtle anomalies buried amid daily data. Could residents have been warned if the signals had been clearer? Or is the nature of such disasters always to catch us by surprise, reminding us how little separates order from chaos? Now, picture what it feels like to live the terror firsthand. Many clutch children and pets, eyes wide as evacuation orders blare from loudspeakers mounted on emergency vehicles. Every exit becomes a gamble. Will the next block be passable? Has the mud blocked the main road? Will the ash cloud choke your car's engine before you can escape? Some people abandon bags and treasured possessions after seeing fiery mud streaming down side alleys, destroying everything in its path. Cars pile up at intersections, their metal exteriors pitted by falling debris. Drivers are forced to choose between staying put or risking footpaths now half submerged in grey ooze. A teacher from the local elementary school shepherds a row of children onto a makeshift bus, whispering reassurances she barely believes. Residents form lines outside community centres, blinking through tears as ash bites at their skin. A father hoists his elderly mother over a collapsed curb, brown sludge sucking at her shoes. Two dogs leap into a neighbour's pickup, following their owners through the haze, while stray cats yowl from rooftops. Rescue teams, overwhelmed yet determined, prioritize the most vulnerable: elderly, disabled, new parents clutching infants. Makeshift ambulances are pressed into service, pulling people through the rising mud. On the fringes, journalists and amateur photographers document scenes of heartache and heroism. The water treatment plant, now half buried, draws a grim crowd. It's a stark reminder of the limits of human ingenuity, a structure designed to manage and purify water, now overwhelmed by the very ground it was built upon. Beyond the immediate danger, fear redraws social boundaries. Strangers, once separated by routine, grip each other's hands. Parents shout across fences to tally neighborhood children. Arguments break out as some try to drive through dangerous zones. Others plead for patience and calm. All the while, a steady rain of ash falls, casting every surface in a ghostly shroud. Savior and curse, providing real-time information but also fueling misinformation and panic. Embedded reporters, disaster experts, and terrified locals fill feeds with plea after plea. Where's the safest route? Is the air toxic? Has the school collapsed? Is someone coming to help? When the earth finally calms, the terror lingers. The first eruption, devastating as it was, proves only the opening act. Aftershocks, smaller surges of trapped gas and mud, crack the ground in unpredictable patterns, sending fresh waves of panic through the town. Windows rattle, nerves fray. Each new tremor raises the specter that the worst may still be coming. Helicopters and drones hover day and night over the disaster site, trading fuel by the hour to keep images streaming to command centers. Specialized teams deploy seismic sensors, measuring the tiniest movements in the earth. Scientists pore over readings, trying to discern patterns. Does a cluster of tiny spasms deep below mean a second eruption is imminent, or is the pressure slowly diminishing? Each aftershock is a test of resolve. Families who evacuated watch from shelters as the muddy river snakes toward the suburbs, sometimes consuming entire streets in a single, unstoppable surge. Authorities update evacuation zones daily, unsure where the next outflow might strike. Highways become lifelines, clogged with vehicles and relief convoys. Helicopters occasionally drop food parcels onto isolated rooftops, their rotors stirring the ever-present ash. A sense of unreality settles on the survivors. To live side by side with a disaster that threatens at any moment is a psychological torment. Normalcy unravels in subtle ways. The taste of tap water draws suspicion. The sound of a heavy truck outside makes hearts pause. Children flinch at uneven floors. Elders scan their yards for fresh cracks. At night, almost everyone sleeps lightly, attuned for the next warning rumble. And yet, even as the mud runs and the earth shivers, lines stretch at relief centers. For water, fresh clothing, and basic medical checks. Volunteers serve steaming coffee and thick blankets, trying to replace some warmth the disaster took away. Beyond the town's boundaries, the eruption becomes global spectacle, object lesson, and urban legend all at once. News networks cut in with special bulletins, their scientists debating animatedly. Graphics swirl on screen, cross-sections of the Earth, maps showing danger zones, interviews with stunned officials and exhausted responders. The disaster dominates social media platforms, trending in languages across continents. Scientists post explanatory threads, trying to teach safety precautions. Survival tips and rumors mingle in the digital cacophony. For every video showing devastation, another appears showing slow-motion footage of mud fountains, fire snaking through the ash-laden air, sunrises filtered through unnatural haze. The duality of response is everywhere, fear and fascination. Schools on the other side of the world adjust their science curriculums mid-semester to include lessons on mud volcanoes. Curious homeowners in distant countries investigate their own geology. Emergency planning apps trend in app stores, spiked by anxious families. There are moments of compassion too. International aid agencies launch appeals. Engineers volunteer expertise. Messages of solidarity pour in, tying distant strangers together in empathy. and in the recognition that no human community is truly immune from the Earth's caprice. Yet, running beneath the headlines is a subtler question. Do our cities, so carefully mapped and built, rest on foundations far more fragile than we dare admit? If boiling mud can erase neighborhoods overnight, what dormant threats lie beneath our own feet? Eventually, the eruption sputters down to a slow, sickly trickle. But its mark is everywhere. Coats of sticky mud dry and crack on abandoned buildings, curling around lampposts and playground swings like the desiccated skin of some ancient beast. Cars, half swallowed, lie like fossilized beetles. The town's once familiar skyline is scored with jagged, unfamiliar ridges, a testimony to the Earth's violent reshaping. Day after day, the townspeople, joined by relief crews from far and wide, slog through the waist-deep sludge. Hazmat masks and gloves are standard. Anyone venturing near the epicenter wears protective gear due to the lingering stench and threat of toxic gases. Water mains are checked for contamination. Samples packed in biohazard vials are dispatched to labs. Volunteers start the grim work of cleaning mud from personal treasures. Photographs warped, children's artwork obliterated, wedding dresses stained brown. The psychological scars are deeper and slower to heal. Every conversation cycles back to the eruption. Children draw pictures of monster volcanoes, adding stick figure rescuers, sometimes coloring the ash clouds bright hues to soften the memory of terror. People list things lost, favorite dogs, backyard gardens, a treehouse painstakingly built over summers. Candles and lanterns glow in windows for those still missing. Health teams canvass neighborhoods, distributing masks and bottled water, attentive to symptoms of gas inhalation and stress. Planners talk of moving blocks, planting new gardens, erecting memorials near the shattered water treatment plant. Yet, resilience blooms. Retired engineers help organize cleanup. Teenagers ferry supplies to evacuation centers. Community halls open their doors to all, feeding the displaced. Even as the mud threatens to harden into permanent scars, acts of hope, shared meals, chalk drawings on mud-coated sidewalks, music played on salvaged speakers, signal a stubborn refusal to surrender. As muddy streets are finally cleared, teams of scientists converge on the site, armed with ground-penetrating radars, gas sensors, and sampling tools. Their goal? To decode the volatile language of the eruption. Geologists chart fissures, measure the depth of the rift, and trace the subterranean lines of pressure that built up beneath the plant. Specialists collect samples, each sticky clump a record of the planet's hidden processes. Teams work around the clock, some guests of local families, others working from temporary shelters. This is where science and primal fear overlap. On the one hand, data pours in, temperature gradients, gas concentrations, sediment layering. On the other, unpredictability remains, a reminder that instruments only look so far into the Earth. For every question answered about the eruption's mechanics or the precise moment of failure, others multiply. Was this eruption unique, or just the first in a series? Is there a deeper fault? A fresh reservoir of gas waiting to escape? No matter their expertise, scientists speak with humility. The instruments may map aftershocks and forecast risk zones, but they cannot erase the knowledge that the ground can betray us again, sometimes without warning. After the helicopters leave and the media moves on, survivors begin the hardest task, learning to live with uncertainty. Mud is scraped off, repairs are planned, but questions remain, threading through every conversation. Do we rebuild here or somewhere safer? Is there anywhere truly safe? The town council meets in emergency sessions, inviting experts to advise on new building codes. Some houses must be condemned, foundations eroded past repair. Others require deep inspections, and many take months to restore to habitability. In some quarters, only ghosts of neighborhoods remain, their street signs poking from hardened ridges. A new vocabulary enters daily life. Words like subduction zone, gas cap, and thermal vent become common. Local children swap stories of mud volcanoes and imagine secret tunnels below their feet. Grown-ups scan emergency alerts and track air quality indexes before letting kids play outside. Repeated drills leave everyone jumpy, but instill a sense of competence. Next time, they hope, they'll be ready. Some leave, seeking work and new beginnings far away. Others, stubborn and proud, insist on rebuilding. Amid the loss, the sense of community strengthens, born not just of shared suffering, but of the knowledge that, when the ground awoke, they stood together. Elsewhere, distant towns with similar risks check their own vulnerabilities. Mayors call for updated geological surveys. Governments debate investment in early warning systems. Around the world, disaster preparedness takes on new urgency. The mud volcano's violent appearance serves as a warning, a stark reminder of our planet's untamable side. And as the last embers fade and the mud cools to stone, the question lingers in every survivor's mind. Are we ever more than temporary guests on this land? Can vigilance ever really match the ancient, unpredictable forces brewing just beneath us? The explosive awakening of the mud volcano has shattered illusions of permanence, but also forged new bonds of resilience and awareness. Nature remains inscrutable, its next move hidden deep below. We rebuild, we adapt, and we watch the ground, aware now more than ever that the earth may rise again. Our routines resume, the mud dries, and life stirs anew. Yet beneath each step, something timeless and unknowable continues to churn, reminding us all how truly fragile our world can be.